Welcome to another day, sponsored by me. I was just sitting here looking around, making sure that I had enough girth to hold this boat up. Figured somewhere between the stands and the gantry and everything else, and that's without the cribbing, I got about 38,000 pounds of holding up force. I think I've got it covered. So today, we are going to go ahead and start on our bottom. We've got our million power candle light, and we're going to show it on the bottom like the sun was hitting it. So we should be able to get this guy pretty good. But we're going to run down this side and then run down the other side. And hopefully get this thing taken care of in the next few days, because they are not calling for any rain. The real issue about rain is the boat, my driveway has a downslope like it should. That has always been my Achilles heels when it comes to these boats. Because, I mean, you can look at my 19. I actually built this stand here that gives it another foot in height to make sure it drains out, and that's on the ground. I mean, you can see my driveway slips up quite a bit compared to the ground. So with it sitting like it is now, it tends to be just a tad bit bow down. So that's why I threw the cover on it, which actually has to be inside out now because it has some fiberglass schmegma all stuck to it, which I wanted to stay a little tacky. The bow is down. If it rains, water's going to come in and probably sit in the bow, which we don't want that. I mean, that just makes the boat that much heavier. Not only that, but fills it up with water, which is just bad news. So that's the game plan. So the process is to basically get my million candle power light over there and take it and spotlight the whole underside as I go. And to make this a little more manageable, I broke it up into two sections, about 10 feet each. You can do the math. Marked all my spots, filled them, come back with 80 grit and sanded everything, the whole hull, everything that's going to get painted white. And now I've gone back and second spotted the areas a second time with my light. Now that's a little bit more intensity than I expect to ever be on the bottom of this boat. So this is about the level I'm gonna stick with. That's about it. I mean, it's just the bottom. And now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna spotlight this half. This has a lot of like spider cracking in it. And it's just like, it's odd. It's like somebody laid down paint and then laid like, I don't know, chopped strand fiberglass in it and then picked it up. And it's got all these little like kind of like fiber cracks, but they seem to sand out. So it's only in the paint. It's not actually in the gel coat itself. So I'm not sure whether the paint reacted weird or something and just kind of like separated out, and you know, when it does that fisheye thing, all this time it did like spider cracking everywhere. But the majority of it seems to be sanding out on this side, because it kind of had the same thing on the front half, and I just basically sanded a lot of it off. So, but I don't know what kind of paint that is. I was told it was Allmand. I'm telling you, that shit is a nightmare to sand. Oh God. Now this is in really good shape too, so I mean it hasn't been weathered, so I'm sure that it probably works out a lot better after it's been beat on a little while. But I think this got done and maybe dunked a couple times at most, and then it sat on a trailer for like the next 15 years or whatever it's been. It's a bit of a challenge, but we're going to go back to work at it and see if we can get this whole side done today, or at least 90% of it. 2 or 3 days, I'm hoping to have the bottom done. That way when the paint arrives, we can squirt this guy. It can sit up here for a day or so, and then go back on the trailer. Right now, nothing's going to get done unless I actually get back to work, so see ya. Well, it may not be the end of the world as we know it, but it definitely is the end of the day as we know it. Got up to about, I don't know, 120 on part of it. I'm still finding spots. Every time I change the lighting, I find a couple little spots here, a couple little there. But they're getting much less. As I said, it's not going to be perfect, but I'm going to try, you know. I mean, I'm not going to just like half-ass it just because. So let's get this one as perfect as possible, and then we'll move on from there. But it's not going to happen today. So see ya. Welcome to another, what hopefully will be of many, day. We are kind of just picking up where we left off at yesterday. And man, I'll tell you, I got caught with my pants down last night, big time. I was right about here, and we were just kind of milling along, going back and forth, finding our spots. You know, as I said, our spots are getting fewer and fewer, which when it started off, they had about 3,000. Now it's down to about 300. But long story short, I was just kind of sanding along, you know, and the sander's vibrating. I'm using a box sander. I ain't hand sanding the bottom. No. And I knew it was already starting to sprinkle, so I was like, well, I'm under the boat. A little sprinkle, clouds passing over. It's not supposed to rain at all today. It just must be a cloud passing. And I turn over here, and I look over towards the 19 here, just glancing out of the corner of my eye. And I saw a torrential downpour. It was like amazing. Yeah, I was totally caught with my pants down. Boy, the black is already filthy. If you want a black boat, you get what you get. That's why I have a red boat. But again, or white boats. Or a blue boat. It sounds kind of patriotic, doesn't it? I do have a blue boat, a red boat, and a white boat. It's pretty cool. But back to this, I mean, I just basically have to pick up where I left off at. I mean, I found that it's a lot better to actually carry a pencil with me on my little tummy and mark the spots as I go that I sand off and don't really agree with how bad they look. So I'm going to give it a quick look over and then probably go over the whole thing again on 120. I really don't have anything else exciting. I don't think the Texas Speed 427 is going to show up, since I didn't order one and they're not sponsoring me, and for that matter, nobody is. Well, after a couple hours, we got tired of looking at the same spots over and over again, thinking they were pinholes when actually they were just dark spots. Has a lot of little flaky shit, something crap or whatever else is in the paint. Yeah, they all comes through and looks like pinholes. Now I've gone ahead and done some primer. I've actually found about another 8 or 10. But at least I'm not chasing the same holes over and over again. But the thing about these primers is, you know, you put it on and honestly, they say you can sand it in no time. Well, I'm going to wait. All right, I got other things I can do, so I'm just going to hold off on this side for a little while, and we're going to move over to the other side, which, of course, needs to go from start to finish, the same exact thing we just did on that side. And as you can see, I just had some leftover rage when I was doing some body work on the upper sides here, or the hull here. Get off me, green bug. Yeah, I just went ahead and crawled under the trailer and started spreading some spots that I could just see out of offhand. And now that I have it off the trailer, we're going to see a whole lot more. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and give this guy a fresh start on its 50th anniversary. Yeah, I'm 52. I wish somebody could make me over like this. I mean, this would be awesome. I mean, inside and out too. I mean, I want to be like 100%, like brand new. Can't do that, but you can do it to a boat. So let's continue on. Will you come on? Alright, while she makes up her mind, I'm going to go ahead and do this. Where are you going? Now you're going into Wandy's yard. Okay. Alright, we're out here under the lights. It's after 8 o'clock once again. Camera again does wonders. As long as there's a little bit of light to deal with, it really picks up everything. We look like a camouflage out of a World War II battleship or something. We've got spots everywhere. It's progress. I mean, all those spots were repairs of some sort or another. So we are now up to 120 on the sandpaper, which is a far cry from the 80 grit that we started with, which kind of brings us a little bit back to smoothness. Not really sure if I'm going to go to 400 on the bottom, because I really want this paint to adhere to the hull, you know, being that it's on the bottom itself. So we'll see how it goes. And sanding this paint, and everywhere you hit it, it's like the sandpaper just grabs it and almost comes to a stop, and the sander wants to twist around. It's just really weird. It's getting better as we go, though. I'm done rambling. I'm done for the night, and I will see you all tomorrow. Welcome to another day. If this seems like deja vu, it's because we're doing it all over again. Yeah, repeated day after day. It gets monotonous. Sometimes I wish I could just walk away from this stuff and do something else for a few days. But in reality is I don't want to put it off either. You know, I'm the type of person, if I got something to do, I want it out of the way. I want it done. And this is something that has to be done, as much as I'm sitting in the garage here just a minute ago, dreading coming out here and doing this. Because I'm sore, and doing things upside down like this is kind of painful. And then you add in the fact that we've been doing it for days, and it's muggy and dusty and dirty, and sometimes you feel like you're really not making any progress, because I mean, look at the spots on this bottom. Now I'm getting ready to pull out my rage one more time and find all the pinholes that I can, and this is like the 4th, 5th, 6th time around. I mean, I've taken most of this Allmand or whatever that paint was off, but at the same time, it was a disaster. I mean, it truly is. Here's an example of what I've been talking about all along. Now, this has been filled in, but you can see the lines. I mean, that's from the paint. That's not gel coat cracks. I mean, I was like losing my mind when I looked underneath here and saw all that spider cracking. I mean, this was everywhere, all across the whole thing. And I lost my mind. I thought, oh my God, what did they do? I mean, if these twin motors in the back, did they not support them properly or what? And it just shattered the whole underside of the boat. I didn't see this kind of damage on the inside, so it's just kind of like perplexing me. And yeah, and once I started sanding the paint off, I realized that most of that spider cracking, or this stuff here, just went away with the paint. And I've blown it out, cleaned it out, you know, checked again. The gel coat's fine. Now I gotta say that somebody did a lot of sanding on the gel coat on the bottom, because it's a bit thin for a Nova. But the majority of it's still there. We have little spots here and there, like this guy right there. It gets a little thin, but paint will fix that right up, no problem. But that's our day, and we're just gonna go back over the work we thought we were done and do it again, and do it again, and do it again. The primer really brings out things like, look. Now to me, that was a little black dot. Right now, that's a pinhole. So we got all that to fix. But lucky enough, the major bulk stuff is done. I mean, the major, big, bulky, huge mess, piles of sand and dust clouds coming out from underneath the boat. That part's all done. It's just fine-tuning what we got. Our paint is also supposed to arrive today. Now, it did say it was supposed to arrive between 1 and 3. Well, it's past 3 already, so that didn't work out so well, but we got our fingers crossed it actually shows up. We'll see how it works out, but off to work. Yeah, our little friend is back. At some point, I'm going to have to name her. I don't know. We'll see. Well, like I said, I'm not really getting into this bottom like I did with the sides and such. I'm not going to do all that detail work. So I've gone ahead and got out my professional glazing and spotting putty and started to do the little pin spots. I don't know. You know, you look at it and you're like, okay, I'm only going to go so far. And then once you kind of get close to that goal, it's like, well, why not keep going? I really didn't want to deal with it anymore. I tried some primer. There was still a few that would pop through. And, you know, as you keep going over, you keep finding more and more stuff every time you change the light around over here. But once again, that kind of lighting should never be on the boat bottom. I mean, if it is, you probably got more problems than worrying about what your paint job looks like. So yeah, I'm spot puttying, and we're going to continue spot putty and probably spend then numerous hours sanding. So, but no, I'm not going to get into this too deep. No, there's no reason to. Well, it's probably going to be the smoothest bottom 19 that is in existence also. This boat's going to be a huge first for a lot of things. I mean, it's probably got the strongest deck. It's probably the lightest built now, and without all the rotten wood and everything else in them. Yeah, it's probably the lightest 19. As I said, the ass end's real light. I know that just by fooling with it. Yeah, this boat, it's gonna give my boat a run for its money. I wonder what upgrades I can put in this thing. Twin turbos. You know, I was just sitting here counting my blessings, you know. Hey, the paint showed up about 10 minutes after I finished washing the boat. I don't have to do any more sanding. I'm done. 320 is it. I don't have to go to 400 because I really don't feel a need to, honestly. It feels that good, and on top of that, I want good adhesion with the paint. So as I said, the paint came in. Dude dropped it right over here on the step. I go ahead, I start bringing them in after I got everything finished up, what I wanted to do there. And look what I did. Yeah, safety packing and all. I'm a little pissed off, to be honest. The gallon came in. I mean, I dropped it less than, I don't know, about 3 or 4 inches off the floor, and it went. And I didn't even really drop it. It was just kind of like slid out of my hand. And it hit the corner and it fell over. And when it fell over, even with these, like they come from the store with these little metal brackets on them so they don't pop. Well, I haven't found one of them, but I had found the top, and it just rolled right off and splattered all the way up to my refrigerator up there and left a gallon of brand new paint right on my floor. And I mean every bit of it too. And it just took like a millisecond and the whole thing was empty right there on the floor. And I thought maybe the top popped open and I was like ready to grab it, and I actually reached inside the can itself when I reached around to grab the top. It was just like unbelievable. So that's the way I'm finishing my day. Lucky enough, I do have a second can. This was pretty much my Beesmeyer project can. I'm gonna have to get another one. So that's where I'm at. The boat is actually sanded and washed, pretty much ready to go. I have paint. Now, I guess the next thing to do is go in the house and cry. Right now, like I said, I'm just a little aggravated, so I'm done for the day. See ya. Welcome to a VOC day. And what I mean by that is we have a lot of VOCs in this garage, and we are using our fan to blow it out. Even though it is low VOC paint, you dump a gallon of it on your floor and then close up your garage a half hour later, you're gonna have a lot of VOCs. It's not toxic or anything, but you know, it just leaves that weird taste in your mouth, and it's like, ugh. And so, yeah, we'll be using the fan going this direction for a change instead of this direction for a change. Besides that, we're kind of like waiting out the weather. And I know this has been a whole project long kind of dilemma here, the weather. But in the afternoon here, early afternoon, we're calling for about a 35% chance of rain. And as you can see, it's quite overcast, and we really aren't trying to push our luck here. Best thing about this bottom is even during that torrential downpour, very little of it even got wet. So I mean, we need to start our prep work, and that's what I'm kind of worried about, because if I get the plastic all up on the boat and everything, and then it pours down rain and then everything gets wet, it all have to be stripped off and start over again, because I'm not going to have water behind plastic or in a little fold of plastic, you know, and go to sand and then it splatters, and it's just, and again, I know it's the bottom, and I know I'm kind of like, you know, being picky about it, but if you felt as sore as I do after doing all this work to this bottom, the last thing you want to do is screw up the paint job. I mean, again, I'm not a great painter as it is. A perfect paint job would be acceptable on this bottom. But a not so perfect paint job would be also, but a just screwed up paint job would not be. So, like I said, we're just gonna kind of feel through the day here. We're gonna go ahead and get started working on our prep lines. We're gonna have to do all the lines anyway, and the frog tape that I'm using actually says you can leave it on for 120 days and then still have a clean release. I'm not going to be pushing that number by a long shot, but we can get all our lines done, and that's the hard part. You know, once the lines are done, I mean, you can just tape to the other tape, and you know, it only takes 5 minutes to actually cover up the boat, and that will be our deal for the day. airing out fumes. Whole crap load of money sitting right there on the floor, making my garage stink. And taping and prepping. With this quart of paint splattered on the ground, along with myself, and the gallon dropped in the garage there, I'm in real competition. How much paint goes on the boat as opposed to how much paint I've thrown on the ground. Told you I'm a sucky ass painter. And I really hope that I do actually get the chance to do a little pss, 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 pss. But we're gonna hold off on that thought. No reason to push it. Like I said, they got plenty of time now. We just need to get it done. Okay, I've gone ahead and got the whole boat taped up. Looks like our weather's going to hold out for us. They were calling for rain earlier. As the day progressed, it was supposed to get less. And we've moved along into our day, so it should be getting less and less as we go. One thing I did notice, got out my can of paint here, started prepping up. This is what I got salvaged out of a gallon. Yeah. And I was really perplexed on how it could just basically kind of fall over like that and just, I mean, like somebody threw it at the floor. Until I took the top off of this one, and it literally popped. And you could feel the pressure inside of the can itself. So I'm not sure what's going on here, because, you know, I usually don't have that issue. And maybe they are, but they're just less in the can or what have you. But I think that was the reason. I mean, they were a little pressurized, and as soon as it fell over, that top wanted to go like a cork, and it went. And like I said, it went 7-8 feet away. I mean, it's just, that's incredible. So I don't think that would have just, like I said, you would have thought I would have dropped it from like up here and it landed on its side and splattered that way. You would think that I wouldn't even look at the weather. And here it is raining. It was supposed to rain a little shower earlier today. Not this. We are under a tornado watch. And a vicious cell, the only cell in Maryland, is on its way to us. And I have no clue what to do here because I got fresh paint on the bottom. It's already kicked off, so I'm not worried about that. But I've got a top I can't attach to the boat. We got a whole crap load of rain and wind. This top may end up down the street. So I don't know what to do here besides just hold my breath and pray. We'll see what happens afterwards. And then of course it immediately goes to 0% chance of rain. When it came time to pull the boat off the trailer and do the bottom, I actually checked out the forecast, the whole 9 yards. For the next 5 or 6 days, they weren't calling for any rain. You know, and there's always a chance of a pop-up storm here or there, you get that. But for the last 5 or 6 days straight, it's rained every day. I don't know what to do here, because now I'm going to have paint that's been going off for a while. And I don't think I can just continue on after it stops raining, because it's going to be humid as hell and everything's going to be soaked. So I'm at a loss. I think I may have to start all over again. Alright, well, our rainstorm has passed. And yes, it left a mess. We will have to deal with. We decided to turn some lemons in the lemonade a little bit and go ahead and use this coat as a guide coat. I have a good idea that most of this stuff would have actually filled in when I actually finished painting. But, you know, we got one coat on, and it left a whole crap load of pinholes and all the rest of the stuff that really wasn't noticed because of all the camouflage of colors again. So, yeah, about 6:37 the rain stopped. We got the driveway dried out enough with a fan, and I went ahead and I spotted the whole hull again. Remember what I was saying about it not going crazy and making this thing perfect? Really, at this rate, I mean, it's almost as good as the deck. So we'll attack this again tomorrow. Welcome to what I would consider an annoying day. Really didn't plan on having all this stuff back out again. Like I said, I didn't even plan on color sanding. But my sander's out, my bucket of soapy water's out. Got a lot of spots on the hull to actually take care of here. Yeah, there's a crap load of them now. But, you know, like I said yesterday, I'm trying to make some lemonade out of lemons here. This was kind of a lemon deal. I mean, as I said before, I think a lot of this would have been covered up with 5 or 6 layers of paint and a couple layers of clear coat mixed in with some paint. But why take the risk? So we went ahead and spotted everything up. As you can see, there's a lot of them. And again, nobody's going to see any of this stuff because once it's on a bunk trailer with all its cross members and everything else, you hardly see any of it. And then the only other time you're going to see it is when it's scooting across the water. But yeah, I got a lot of sanding to do, a lot of prep work to do. They're not calling for rain again today. I'm expecting a monsoon any moment. I mean, it's blue skies at the moment, but you know, the way it's been going so far, they haven't called for rain for the last 5 or 6 days. And we've been hit with hellracious storms, including tornado warnings yesterday. Which, lucky enough, we didn't get a tornado, and it really didn't even get that bad, but you know, it's just enough to just ruin the day. Because like I said, the paint's been sitting for 18-20 hours now, so I have to go over and basically wet sand the whole thing again. Make sure it adheres. As I said before, I did the 320, stop there for adhesion. It seems to look pretty darn good, honestly, except for, like I said, the pitting that was, you know, we fixed. I got a lot of work to do, and I guess I'll give you an update in a minute. Just been out with my electric box sander, a hose, and just wet sanded the bottom of the boat with 400. Yeah, that's about where I was at with the top. And after going over every little divot and doodad that I can see 6, 7, 8 times, I don't even know anymore. This is it. I'm done. I've wet sanded 400, and honestly, it wouldn't even have happened if it wasn't for the rain yesterday and this paint kicking off to the point where it had to be sanded. So in the process of having to be sanded, you know, that was a bummer. I knew that right from the start. So I thought, what the hell? Let's go ahead and do some spotting. And one thing led to another, and bam, here we are. Another 16 times going over the bottom. A guide coat, spotted again 2 more times. Actually, after I did the last segment, I went over the whole boat again. And yeah, I found a bunch of spots. So I'm pretty much done here. It's a little late now. I got to get the whole thing cleaned up. I got to get the whole mess cleaned up. Got a squirrel over here that wants some food. So it's probably going to end up getting painted tomorrow. We'll see. A little doe following him. Hello. I don't like this situation. I'm leaving. Alright, we went ahead and did some final whatever to the trailer. And it's not perfect by a long shot, but we went ahead and basically cleaned up or coated up whatever we needed to. We had paint land on top. The rest of it, as I said, it looks like a cheap ass paint job, but the rest of it is really just kind of drippings from the wet sandings. and that will come off. So I'm not so worried about that. But the paint actually that landed on the top rail, yeah, that was going to be a lot longer to come off. So a little can of primer and it was ready to go. While it was at it, I went ahead and I painted my axles with some flat black, and I moved a couple bunks. These two bunks back here were too tight, in which case they were going to hit whatever water pickup that we had in the bottom of the boat. So I had to widen those and keep them at the same, you know, angle. So we're going to see how that works out. And I also lowered this roller just a smidge, Boat's all ready to go. We'll be seeing it tomorrow morning. Yeah, get this knocked out, let it sit for a while, and then stick it back on the trailer. And then I think I'm going to take a vacation. We'll see how long. But that's it for now. You gonna work with me, camera? See, I'm only going to focus on that now. Yeah, this radio is a little too loud. This is probably not going to work. Nah, it didn't work. Let's try it again. Right there is where you throw in some eagles. But lucky enough, as I said, or lucky enough. But back to this. I basically have to, let's do that again. But no, it's not going to be. All right, we're going to cut that part out. Okay, that works. But now we're going to have to do it for real. I guess that's what it is. I mean, it's just a big light. Not really weird, but I'm probably going to, nah, that'll probably get him a lawsuit. We probably can't do that. One more time. Okay, damn, I shouldn't have okayed it. What the hell am I okaying for? What do I need to okay that for?